Thank you very much again for joining us and on this 1 hour webinar to talk about ITIL version 4 and how that brings together quite a number of common roles that that we normally see or hear about in our day-to-day work itself. Okay, so just a little bit about myself before I go into the short session. That's me over there. Generally, I'm a trainer. A lot of you may have met me. I'm a trainer. I train all manner of good stuff around IT service management, governance, project management, business analysis, process improvement, talent, and competency management. So I do quite a bit of that, and I've got a few experience here and there, Nigeria, outside of Nigeria, but that's not the most important thing today. So today, our job is to dive into talking about how ITIL 4 can help you as a project manager, as a business analyst, as an IT person, whatever you're doing at this moment. ITIL 4 can definitely help you. All right, so agenda-wise, we're gonna talk about the introduction, give you a brief overview of ITIL 4, and then focus on one part of ITIL 4, which is service value chain activities, and then talk about how we can use that to design a new application, and then conclude. Okay, just a little bit about getting the best out of this course. To get the best out of this course, please, you can ask questions at any time. You can send your question as a chat message. Time to time, I'm going to be checking to see whether we've got questions coming along that I may be able to answer alongside, or I may wait to the end of the session to answer some questions. But that shouldn't stop you from coming up with your questions, so that I will try all my possible best to answer those questions. And again, I'm not promising that I'm going to have answers to all your questions, because I don't know everything. When I do not know or have answers to your questions, I will definitely let you know that I've got no answer, and I'm going to research and come back to you on the answer to your question. All right. So that said, I'm going to be sending a poll. I'm going to be sending a poll very soon, just for you to complete. In fact, I can launch one now, just for you to complete and tell us a little bit about yourself, the industry where you work, and the location where you are at the moment. I mean, just for our data keeping purposes. So it's going to be good for you to quickly take a little bit of time to complete that while I start our discussion little by little. Okay, so as you all know, we live in a digital economy. So every organization is under pressure right now to deliver, and coupled with what is happening around the world, the COVID, working from home. So a lot of things are happening, which is basically not new to you. So every industry is changing. So no industry is actually an IT industry any longer. I mean, we used to have these IT industry, and then they focus a lot on IT. But healthcare today, financial services today, retail, they are all IT companies today. So a lot of skill gaps exist within many industries when it comes to IT. And again, when you look at the data out there, for instance, now we're just browsing generally, looking for data around SaaS. The market size alone for software as a business industry is it's going to about $623 billion as projected by 2023. As of today, it's over $400 billion. And we have more than 11,000 SaaS companies growing. And about 38% of organizations in the world run their business 100% on SaaS product. You see, and this tells us that we have so much growth, because not everybody is still running on SaaS, and SaaS is growing at a very dramatic rate, coupled with the fourth industrial revolution, talking about IoT, talking about cloud computing, which is not new, AI, and all of those that you all know. It tells us that digital business or IT skills is going to be, it's going to be in high demand for a long time to come. So this is not new, because when you think about the third industrial revolution, that brought in all the computers that we are, or the computing stuff that we're seeing today, ITIL is not actually new to this kind of changes in our industry. So ITIL responded to that, to the third industrial revolution in the early, you can see in the late 80s, when there was so much failure from the UK government, and not just ITIL. If I take you back the memory lane, for some of you will know about the UK government, that's the Cabinet Office, or which they used to call the OGC, that's the Office of Government Commerce. They came up in the early 70s with Prince 2. And Prince 2 was actually, that was Prince. Prince was actually focused on IT projects, just IT projects. Then now we have Prince 2, which is kind of generic, that can be applied to any type of project. But Prince has its roots in IT. And the reason for Prince in the 70s was because many IT projects were failing. And the UK government came up with a methodology that could help them get value from their investment in IT infrastructure. And they used Prince to a very, very large extent in running the government IT project. Then they saw a kind of drawback when it comes to Prince. Prince is great when it comes to managing projects, but when it comes to managing IT services, they saw a drawback when it comes to Prince. And that was what gave birth to what we call ITIL today. That's the IT Information Technology Infrastructure Library. And over the years, it has evolved over the years. And now we have the version 4, which was released or published in 2019, more than a year ago, actually. And looking at what had changed, many of you, I can see some names here. I can see some names that I know are done ITIL version 3. And you may be wondering what had changed between the version 3 and the version 4. All right, let me just pause a little bit there before I go into that the changes between 3 and 4, and then we dive into the ITIL version 4 and how that can help bring together those roles that we mentioned, like business analyst, project manager, and the rest. Okay, let me quickly check some of these messages coming in. Okay, I think, okay, yes, fantastic. Okay, I'm just checking some of these messages coming in to see whether people have a question. So somebody is saying that the network is poor. Okay, yes, just to confirm again, co-host, is everything still fine from your side?
Yes, everything is all right from here.
All right, good. And please, it would be great if everybody can please take the answer the questions that I sent earlier to at least meet up with you. We can see a lot of people. Most people are from IT industry. Then we've got quite a number of people as well from the government, parastatals, and then we've got very few from banking, very few from fintech as well. So yes, okay, I think. Yeah, thank you very much for that confirmation. And we've got a lot of people from Lagos as well. All right, so let's continue to fill in the poll questions, the questions, so that at least we have a little bit of information. Yes, a little bit of information about yourself. Okay, all right. So let's talk about ITIL version 3 and version 4. If you look at version 3, which is great. I love version 3, but version 4 is better in many ways. Version 3 talks about the fact that if we are managing IT services, the first part or the core of IT services is, look at that core there. That's the service strategy, which we expect the senior guys, the senior management to be busy with, to give us direction as to where they see the service going. And when that is clear, we then expect, I mean, that's ITIL version 3, to design that service and then build it, I mean, develop it, build it, test it, and when everything is ready, deploy to operations, which is kind of great. And while all of these are happening, we need to focus on improving the services as we go, and that's what we call CSI. That is continual service improvement. And nothing is actually wrong with this particular model, nothing at all. But the problem is the arrowheads. You know, can you see that arrowhead? And when people then see this, people say, oh, you've got to start from strategy, and then from strategy, you go to design, to transition, and to operations. So people kind of missold the entire idea. And looking back and looking at how organizations had adopted it and the bottlenecks that organizations had been facing when implementing ITIL, we thought there should be an improvement to the way ITIL is sold to organization or used by organization to drive value for their customers. And that was what gave birth to ITIL version 4 that we have here. One of the things that you're going to see here is the fact that you're not going to see many arrows. So we've got in the version 4, we've got the principles, we've got the governance, the service value chain, practices, and continual improvement, but without arrow between them, right? Without any arrow. The only place where we have arrows are these, just those, outside of the entire system itself. And I'm going to talk about those as we go into our session today. Okay, I think I should just I will just leave the polling running until at some point I can then stop it. So please, if you have not completed the poll, please do so. Now, so we discovered that what was wrong with ITIL version 3, not really wrong, but the way people saw it was it kind of gave people this mindset, or this silo working mindset, that service operation is different from service design, or service design is different from service transition. So people kind of see themselves or organize themselves around those life cycle phases, as we call them. But now we just felt, no, everybody works together. So whether you are in service strategy, so let me quickly write. So whether you're in service strategy in version 3, or service design, or service transition, or service operation, or CSI, that we all work together. Because normally we have a lot of senior management here. So if we just write something here, we have a lot of senior management here. And when it comes to design, we have a lot of UI. We have a lot of UI, UX, as you all know, UI UX designers. We've got architects. We've got architects working. We've got BA working. And here as well, don't forget, we've got BA working as well. And ETC, let me just put ETC there. And when it comes to service transition, we've got developers. We've got developers working. We've got DevOps, DevOps guys. We've got the QAs. Those are the testers working as well. And when it comes to service operation, we've got, and don't forget, we've got BA as well, because BA kind of runs across. When it comes to service operation, we have service desk. We have the field, to some extent, field engineers, some other engineers there. And likewise, we have BA there as well. I'm going to be coming back to that. And when it comes to CSI, we've got BA, and we've got the service manager and all of those other guys working there. Now, so many a times, people then see them as departments. So they organize themselves around these departments. So now, all right, Shukwa, I'm going to come back to you on this. So Shukwa is asking, where is the PM across all of these? So most of the time, the PM will come in right about here at the end of these up to this point. So PM will possibly be at that, within those phases. But I'm going to come back to that as we go along. Okay, yes, I'll come back to that. So the PM will be in between, because before any PM can start work, there must have been an opportunity, or there must have been a problem. And those could have been clarified, during service strategy. And the BA as well could have taken those problems or opportunities, define them further by gathering requirement, that is what will be required to solve the problem or to cash in on the opportunity before a project manager then implements. Because a project manager basically is an implementer who then has quite a number of people reporting to him or her in implementing the solutions, like the developers or the even DevOps. Sometimes, they work, not sometimes, they work with project managers. And then we have the testers as well. That's the QA guys working with the project manager. Likewise, the BA as well is still working with the project manager to interpret whatever requirement they had gathered at the beginning to those people implementing the requirement. All right, so in ITIL version 3, a lot of people then tend to organize themselves around this, which is not a bad thing. But the problem there is that silo mentality, that, oh, we are just in design. Oh, I'm just in transition. I'm just a developer, without really giving any so much consideration to the problem that we solve. All right, so somebody is saying, who is a BA? I'm going to talk about that as well, but generally for now, a BA is a business analyst. Okay, business analyst, that is a BA. Okay, so I'll come back to that as well, Lloyd, or Luis. Yes. All right, now. In ITIL version 4, we said, no, let's put them together as a team, because everybody is working together as a team. Everybody is working together as a team, and we shouldn't create a kind of system that makes people see themselves as different departments. And that was what actually gave rise to what we call ITIL 4. And ITIL 4 is driven or governed by this particular system that we have here. This system has 5 parts. Okay, let me go back to where I came from. So ITIL version 4 has number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, and number 5. So ITIL version 4 has 5 main components. And these 5 main components are required in delivering value to our customers, meaning in translating their problem or the opportunity that they have into value for them. So if a service provider does not have all of these in place, it's going to be quite difficult to deliver optimal value to any customer. Now, let me take it further a little bit. What do we mean by principles? What are principles? Principles generally, come back to that. Yes, principles generally are the guiding obligations that actually help us to do the right thing. So, for instance, let me make it so simple. If we talk about principles generally in life, and we say somebody is principled, we mean, if we say you are principled, it means you are predictable. It means we know what to expect from you each time. We know that you're not going to just change overnight, right? We know what you stand for, and we know exactly what you stand against. So when we say somebody is principled, we can expect consistency from such an individual. We can expect to a very large extent repeatability, that you're going to repeat whatever you have done in the past. Why? Because you are guided by some kind of values. So ITIL starts by saying that for any service to make any sense, right, there must be every service provider must have these 7 principles. They must live by them. And as we go through what I'm going to be talking about very soon, I'm going to be coming back to these 7 principles. So I'm going to take them at the right time and not just bore you with whatever they mean for now. But just know that we need to be principled in order to be able to deliver consistent and repeatable, high quality service or services to our customers. So that's the first thing that ITIL version 4 talks about. And the second thing it talks about is the fact that we need governance, which I did not create any slide for, but just to quickly talk you through it. Governance is just how a particular entity is directed or controlled. So if a particular entity is well controlled, it means there will be policies in place, there will be rules in place. It means anybody cannot just do anything. But when we have a system that is not well governed, it means anything goes. It then becomes like Animal Farm, where there is one set of rules for some guys and another set of rules for some other guys, So we need governance in place, and I'll be coming back to that. And the next thing that we have within the ITIL 4 is the service value chain. And that's where we're going to pitch our tent today. Service value chain. So what exactly is service value chain? You see, that middle itself is what we call the service value chain. And the service value chain, let me write it here, they are verbs. And if you remember, in primary school, we said verbs are action words, okay? They're action words like activities. So there are things that we do to deliver value to a customer or to a set of customers. Now, what's the first activity here? Just notice on this diagram. We do not have any arrow between engage and plan, or between plan and design or obtain. So there are no arrows here. They do not exist. Because all of these can happen in parallel. All of these activities can happen at the same time. And we can start from any of them, or we can start with any of them. You see, but key thing is there is no way we're going to solve anybody's problem or help any customer to capture any value in life without at one point in time or at one point or the other carrying out or all of these activities such as engage. And I'm going to be coming back to that because this is our real focus for today's webinar. And then 2, we're going to be talking about planning. There's no way you're not going to plan as a service provider. There's no way you're not going to design and transition whatever we build at the end of the day into an operational environment. And there's no way we're not going to obtain, probably buying from an existing product or connecting our application or service with an existing service through API or any of those. And when we obtain or build, then we deploy and we then support. We deliver and support the service when our end users are using the product or the service. But while we're doing all of these, we need to improve as well. So we have six service value chain activities. So that's 1, and in no particular order, guys. I'm just listing 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So every service provider will, at one point or the other, will engage in these activities in order to produce the product or the services that will deliver value to our customers. And as an IT guy or business analyst, that's management guy, whether you're a business analyst or you're a project manager or you're a product manager, management side of things, you need to understand how all of these activities, how they come together. So whether you are from the management or technical side of things, okay? I think some messages come in here. Okay, some people are asking about traditional waterfall or Agile. Okay, if we have time, we can come back to that. All right, but for now, let's focus on the service value chain activities. So the middle of the pack, the middle of the entire system is what we call service value chain. And the service value chain itself has six main activities. So let me go back to where we're coming from. So the ITIL 4 system has principles. Number 2 has governance. I mean, that's the organizational governance, that's directional control. And at the middle, we have the service value chain. And that's where the transformational work actually takes place. Because what gets things done is work, no other thing. So the only thing that gets things done in life are verbs. They are verbs, action. Without action, nothing is done forever. You know, we can keep dreaming. We can even keep talking. Talk, dream, or dreams, we never get anything done. So what gets things done are verbs, and those are the service value chain. And the verbs we produce, the nouns, those are the deliverables like service or product or house or whatever you are trying to achieve in life, or certification. So the only thing that will get things done are those verbs. But when you then getting things done, when you're carrying out those activities at the middle, you need to know some things. You need to know how to engage. You need to know how to plan. You need to know how to design, how to transition, how to build, how to support. You need to know how to improve. So how do we then do those? How? You know, some people may call them like knowledge areas that you need to have. Okay, those hows are what we call, that's a how, they are what we call practices. You know, they used to be called, I mean, part of it, or something that looks similar to that. If you have done ITIL version 3, they used to be called processes, but they are not really processes. They are just practices, some things that teach us about how to get things done. Okay, so they are not really processes, actually. So the name had been changed to practices, which actually tells us how to actually get those activities done. And as we get those activities done, nobody is perfect in life. I mean, there is nobody. So since we are not perfect, it means whatever system or product that we may have created as well cannot be perfect. So we're gonna continually need improvement. So we then need part of the activities as well. It means part of the activity and is part of the system. So, and that tells us how important that is. That is part of the activity and it's part of the system. It's a component in the system as well. That's continual improvement, because we cannot be perfect. And again, we cannot wait until we've built a perfect product or a perfect service before we launch. You know, some people were asking about waterfall and Agile. I'll come back to that. And Agile believes that we cannot be perfect now. So why not let's just release something and get feedback from our customers. And as the customers derive value from it, they may see other values that they can actually get from the service that we're talking about. Yes, somebody just said MVP. Yes, I mean, we're going to be talking about that as well as we go. That's the minimum viable product. That is, let's do a little and show it to the customer to see whether it's working. So ITIL is kind of looking at the way we work today, end to end, from having a problem or spotting an opportunity here to transforming that opportunity or transforming the problem to value for our customers, right? And the practices that we have, in ITIL today, they are 34 knowledge areas, not depending on where you come in. And as we go, I'm going to be giving you an example of how they all come in together. You know, I'm going to be talking about that. So there are 34 practices in ITIL of today. Version 3 had 26 processes. Like I said, we no longer use the word processes, but now the 26 had been transformed to 34 practices, which had just been categorized into 3. So we have some general management practices, mostly going to be useful to a lot of managers like project manager, product managers, service managers or service owners, even BAs, yes. And then we have some service management practices, so which is going to be the core ITSM guys, the service management guys, all the availability, the capacity and all of those, and monitoring and service desk design and normal things, continuity configuration, as you can see. And then we have the technical bit, That's the technical practices, which are deployment and infrastructure and platform management. Mostly those two are done by DevOps, real life today. And then that one is done by the developers, absolutely. So they are kind of developers, front-end, back-end guys. So they are technical itself. So ITIL kind of put together 3 categories of knowledge areas that people that get involved in IT should be aware of. This is not just about certification. It's about you having the right level of knowledge to support and to be able to add value to wherever you work or to any customer that you work for. You see, so having these, having knowledge across these practice areas can be quite useful to anybody working within IT. Now, so we call those practices, and then we have improve, which I'm not going to spend too much time on. That's the improvement itself. So these are the core components of ITIL 4. Now, let's take it one after the other now, okay? So let's assume that we want to create a new service, okay? Because if we want to improve an existing service, it may not start from here, okay? It may start from here, because we cannot improve anything without gathering some data, real life, because we improve based on real life feedback. So, and those real life feedback could have started from deliver and support. But let's just assume that we do not have anything in place, just to make life simple for everybody, okay? To make life simple for everybody, let's assume that we do not have anything in place and we want to create a new service. The new service can be a fintech product, okay? It can be a fintech product. The new service can be a talent management product, talent management application, all right, or fintech application, or can even be a website, any website, your personal website, okay? Irrespective, we want to create an IT product or an IT service. So how can ITIL then help all of us? Okay, so by looking at those things I've talked about, as you can imagine, the core of our focus should be on the service value chain, because the service value chain activities, they are the verbs that convert ideas or that convert problems or convert opportunities that we call demand here, right? They convert them to value. That is a website that somebody can visit or do something with or interact with, or a fintech app that somebody can transfer money through, or a talent management application where somebody can actually see the skills required for his role and the gap he has across those skills. For instance, I'm just giving that as an example. Okay, so let's assume that we want to talk about a new app. Right. So number one, I just created a problem here. That's one of the problems that we are solving in Arabica today. The problem is about TTP. Sorry, let me tell you what TTP means. It means time to productivity. Okay, time to productivity. That's what we call TTP. Time to productivity. That's TTP. I said TTP to productivity. That's time to productivity for early career professionals and career builders. It's always too long, leading to low performance or ultimate loss on investment. Now, what do I mean by that? When people just come out of uni, or you are still early career pro, I mean, you've not got so much experience, 2-3 year experience to 5, up to 5 years of experience. Sorry, you kind of, okay, let me slow down a little bit, okay? I think somebody saying I'm too fast. Okay, simple. We have a problem. The problem we are solving is many graduates, let's use graduates. Many graduates today, whether from Nigeria or from anywhere in the world, everywhere in the world, is a global problem. Many graduates lack employable skills. So when they are then employed by an organization, they get to work and they do not have the skills the employers need to add value to their work. And it then takes time to start building those skills that they could have built in schools. Even simple productivity tool, like how to use Excel, how to use Microsoft Word, So all of those employable skills, many young professionals, they lack those skills. And because they lack them, it then takes them time to get up to speed. Okay, let's just assume that that's the problem that we want to solve. So you are a pro, and we ask you to solve that problem for us. Okay, and let's use ITIL to solve that problem. So ITIL value chain then says the first, I'm talking about new service. Please don't get me wrong, new service, because if it is an existing service, it may not start from engage. It may start from deliver and support. It may even start from plan. It may start from anywhere. So please do not get that wrong. I'm only talking about a new service. So in a new service, if we want to then develop that new service, a new service to solve that problem, we're going to start from engage. That's the first ITIL 4 value chain activity. And the entire purpose of engage is to provide good understanding of stakeholders' needs. All right, let me even ask you 1 minute. All right, and I want you to send it. All right, please send me your view. Who are the stakeholders? So let me go back to this problem. These are the problems. So who are the stakeholders here? Who are the stakeholders? We want to solve this problem in Nigeria, okay? Or want to solve it in the States or in Europe, anywhere in the world. Who want to solve this problem? Who do you feel are the stakeholders? Stakeholder just means anybody who can affect this problem or who is affected by this problem. Anybody who can affect this problem or who can be affected by the problem. Please tell me, guys. Please chat it, send it through the chat. Who are the stakeholders? So number one, somebody said the stakeholders are number one, investors. Investors, okay. Number two, some people say young graduates, okay. Young graduates, so I'm writing young graduates. Number three, service users. So yeah, employers. Let's just write employers first, because the service users, probably young graduates or who? Who is the service user? Is it HR or who? Or the functional managers or line manager? Who are those? All right, so employers, yes. Number four, lecturers. That's the yes, lecturers. That's the uni. Number five, yes, schools or university or government. Okay, so somebody said government. All right, let me just stop there. Okay, thank you very much, everybody. You've contributed wonderfully well. Okay, now these guys can affect or be affected by this particular problem, though most of the problem is felt by the employers. All right, but these guys as well, they are contributing to the problem, even the government, by having a wrong or ineffective curriculum. Okay, now, so if we come back here, let's come back to engage. So these or those are the stakeholders that we need to engage with. Right? So we need to engage with those stakeholders that you've talked about. And those are the stakeholders. Those are the stakeholders. Those are the stakeholders. And now let me start to talk about the roles. We said the title of this webinar is to make sense. Is to make sense of what BA, DevOps, coders, testers, what they do. Okay. So here, first of all, in real life today, we're going to need some key roles, okay? We're going to need some key roles. Number one, we're going to need the role of a BA. Sorry, where are you going? We're going to need the role of a BA. Who is a BA? That's a business analyst. To engage, right? To engage with these people that we've talked about, the investors, the young graduates, to ask them, what do you want? To talk to the employers, what do you want? To talk to the line managers, what do you want? To engage with the government, what are you trying to achieve with your curriculum? So that we can really understand where the problem is coming from, or to really understand the problem in detail before we begin to profile solution. But absolutely, that we require a lot of engagement, right? So we need BA to engage. But again, if it is an existing service, not just the BA, then even the service desk people we engage. So don't get me wrong to feel that, BAs are the only people that can engage. No, it depends on the service that we're talking about. And it depends on the problem that we're trying to solve. So another set, that's in an existing service. Let me just write it as a caveat so that you wouldn't misunderstand. In an existing service, if it is an existing service, then we're going to need service desk to engage as well. And so many other guys will engage. But I'm just giving a very simple example because of the time that we have here. All right, so we need the BA to engage, and the BA here, as you can see, and we're going to need product manager as well in today's life. You know, the product managers, they own, or they're going to own the service or the product end to end. And in an existing service, we're going to need service desk, all right, to help us engage. Okay, somebody's saying, who's a BA? That's business analyst, all right, business analyst. Okay, great. So now, the kind of questions that the business analyst will be asking, because the business analyst will lead this entire engagement for now, is what are the pains or what are the opportunities? We need to know. And who are the people affected? We've listed them. And what are the metrics we use in measuring the pain? How big is this pain? How much is it costing the employers to train them? And how much have they lost in productivity? Because we want to know how big this problem is. We do not want to waste our time. We do not want to waste our time actually solving a problem that we do not know about. So we need a BA to help with that. So BAs are needed in many companies, and there is a huge demand for BAs around the world, because we need people that can engage with people to really understand their problem and capture exactly what we need to do to solve the problem. And then the BA may ask as well, how is the problem solved today? And what is wrong with this? And now, there are 7 ITIL principles that I mentioned about, or I talked about earlier. See, these two will definitely apply here, because as a BA, he or she must focus on value. If the problem is not big enough, it may not worth solving. There may be bigger problems to solve. Why wasting our time? So part of focus on value is understand the problem and how big the problem is and what we're losing today by not solving that problem. And then writing business case. We call it business case. I mean, a justification for solving the problem. And the practices, now I talked about practices, many practices we apply here, but because of space, I just put this as an example, e.g., the practices that we apply here will be business analysis. That's business analysis practice, which is a big part of ITIL, new ITIL books now, service level management, relationship management practices. These are knowledge areas that we apply in this particular phase. And at the end of the phase, I mean, let me not waste your time, I mean, because of time now, here, the business analyst must think through the entire journey. That's a customer journey in order to be able to solve this particular problem. So though we are here right now, I mean, we are at the beginning, but at this beginning, we're thinking through the entire process here. But at the end of this process, we expect that the BA will come up with the other guys, obviously, meeting with those other stakeholders. The BA will come up with the requirement document. This is just an example. There are many types of requirement document, not just functional, okay? And if you want to know more about that, please, you can attend a business analysis class. And again, Arabica teaches that anyway, all right? But a business analyst will then come up with a requirement document that will be evolving as we go, because we cannot know everything at this beginning, okay? But we're gonna capture as much as we know. So the business analysts, they write, yes, I mean, this is recorded. We're going to send you or we're going to even upload the recording on YouTube, and we're going to send you the slides as well. Next, then plan. You see, engage and plan, real life, they happen at the same time. They happen together. So there is no lag between them. There's no time lag between the two of them. And this is where, as a company, if we are trying to solve that problem, we then begin to ask ourselves, right? We begin to ask ourselves, one, what's the vision? What's the vision of this company or the company that we are helping as a consultant? Will whatever solution we are providing really align with their vision or wherever they are, right? And that's the entire purpose of plan, which normally real life, guys, real life, this is called strategic planning. Strategic planning. Strategic planning. And in strategic planning, we still need the business analyst. So the business analyst is leading here. Business analysts, they help organizations in coming up with strategic plans, right? So they do a whole lot of work. It's a big part of business analyst work, all right? And the business analyst will be asking questions like this. Like, what is the organization's MV squared S? That is mission, value, vision, and strategy. Okay, well, I call it MV square S, which is like velocity for me, because without an organization being clear on the MV square S, then they are not moving. All right, so we need to be clear about the vision, mission, value, and the strategy. And where are we with our current value streams, our organization, our people, the IT, the partners? Because if we do not know where we are, it's going to be quite difficult to even move very fast. So the strategic plan will tell us where we are and what is achievable within the organization. And the principle that supports that in ITIL is called start where you are. So that means we're going to get the business analyst to go audit the company, to go check what we have in place already. And we'll be thinking holistically and working holistically. What does that mean in ITIL 4? It means think and work holistically means in ITIL 4 to consider these 4 dimensions. We call them 4 dimensions. That's the meaning of think and work holistically. Consider the people and the organization structure and culture. Consider the IT infrastructure they have in place. Consider their processes and value streams. Consider the partners and suppliers working with them. Will they be able to deliver this new service based on all of this? Or what is possible? And based on that information that we gather from there, we can start to design and transition. That's design and transition based on knowing the problem, that's during engagement, and then during planning, knowing exactly what we have in place and what we can do and what we cannot do as an organization. We can start to design whatever is possible. And when we're designing again, we're going to need the BA again. We're going to need the UI UX guys, because the UI UX guys, they are the guys, the UI means user interface and user experience designers. They are the ones that would translate, sorry, I will come back to that. They would translate everything we've been talking about. Come on, I've gone too far. Oh, sorry. They would translate everything we're talking about into designs like this, wireframes like this, or real designs like this. So we need the UI UX to translate whatever we're thinking about to designs. And we need project managers to start getting hold of these, to start working with to start planning the project as to how we're going to implement those requirements and designs. And definitely we're going to need product manager who manages or owns the product end to end. And definitely we're going to need the DevOps engineer, to start thinking about the infrastructure, to start thinking about the platform where the application will be hosted. And even we need a solution architect to deal with the architecting. And we need developers to contribute. Though they are not coding yet, but we need them to contribute. Now, back to principle, right? In principle, we need these guys to keep the design very simple and practical. We do not want clumsy designs. And that's why we need the UI UX, solution architect, DevOps, product manager, project manager, business analyst, developers working together to contribute to the designs being produced by the UI UX guys and based on the requirement brought in by the business analyst. And now, the practices that will be applicable, there are many, all right? I just picked 3. Capacity and performance management, architecture management, and service design. Absolutely, they're going to be applicable at this phase or during this activity. That's the design and transition activity. But one thing I want to say to you is when we're designing the application, we need to think about the resources that we have. E.g., that's not the only one. E.g., money. That's your budget. And you need to look at the time that you have. When do you want to launch? Before we can pick the features. These are the features, the functionalities. Because you see, these guys, the business analysts, the UI UX, the DevOps, the coders, we need to sit down together to work together, to think, what can we do, given the time, given the resources, and how many features are possible at a particular time. And this is where progressing iteratively can come in, all right? And everything, normally for people that are used to Agile, everything we go into a backlog. We then need to prioritize. What can we do? What can we do first quarter? What can we do second quarter? What can we do third quarter? Because we cannot do everything all at once. So we need a product roadmap. We need a transition plan that release 1, you're only going to have those. Release 2, you're going to have those. Release 3, you're going to have those. And then we keep going. And this is part of what we call Agile. All right. So we need the transition plan and the roadmap before we start to code anything. All right. So when we understand this, we can then start to work on them. So that means the first phase of our project is going to be this, and this is what the project manager will be managing. That's the first project, and then that's the second one, and then that's the third one. You see, and many of these we then can produce or finalize those designs. We can finalize those designs, and when we have that, we can then ask ourselves another question. After the design and transition, we can then ask ourselves next question. Do we want to build this, or can we obtain it from somewhere? Have other people done it? Can we just buy? All right? Or do we want to start from, do we want to start from scratch? You see, and all of these, yes, in Agile, that's what you call sprint and all of those. If the answer, all right, sorry, I'll come back to that. That's obtain or build, and we're still going to need these guys in obtaining and building. Developers are huge here. Testers are huge here. DevOps engineers are huge here. Then these other guys are just helping to manage, but these guys are the real guys doing the work in obtain and build. And when we build in as well, first of all, we want to ask ourselves, do we want to build it, or do we want to buy it? That's obtain or build, make or buy. And if the answer is make, if we're going to make it ourselves, then we then set up ourselves like this. And this is what you call Scrum or Agile. This is part of Agile methodology, where we then work in 1 to 4 week iterations and deliver something that people can see or people can test. That does not mean that we are releasing it. And if you want to know more about Agile, yes, talk to us as well. Right? And all of this will happen during build and test. And these are just examples of codes. Right? And then they're going to build all of these and test them. And this is where DevOps come in. Please listen to this quickly. The DevOps, look at the meaning of DevOps is just development and operations. So the DevOps guys, they look after these. While these other guys, business analysts and the management guys, they look after that. Now, a DevOps guy is the one, helping to coordinate. First of all, helping to understand the infrastructure, the underlying infrastructure. Whether we're going to use Rackspace, let's just make it simple, or Amazon, or Microsoft, Azure. You see, any of those. So they first of all help us to understand the platform where our application can have best performance, and working very closely to the coders, working very closely to the testers and the people building, that's the DevOps himself, building whatever had been written by those coders, front-end, back-end guys, and making sure that we deploy them to the right environment, whether staging environment or production environment. But the fact that we've deployed them does not mean that we've released them. Deploying those apps, and here they talk about CI/CD, continuous integration, continuous deployment, which most of the time the DevOps engineers could have automated. There are lots of automation tools that we use here. And then when the time is right, the DevOps engineers will decide, with other stakeholders to release. And then the users can use the app. And as they use the app, we need to monitor the app and see whether it needs improvement. And that will come back to coders again. So the DevOps is just closely putting together the entire development and the operational guys. But why not not forgetting that there are planners. We need to plan, we need to engage continuously with those guys using the app, and we need to improve based on what we're learning. And we have the design and the obtain and transition between the build and operations, and support and deliver while we are in operation. You see, so all of these is all about having a team to work on creating an application. So the BA, the DevOps, the coders, the testers, we're all working together. And ITIL 4 pull all of them together. And if we're implementing an ITIL 4 within an organization, we then sit down to design your own value stream as to how a particular process will work or a particular application will be built using ITIL 4. So there's no generic way any longer. So we need to tailor make the system, the value stream, to whatever problem we are trying to solve within an organization, which is quite or radically different from ITIL version 3. And then the next thing is, after we've built and then deployed, it goes back to operation. And operation is where the users can start to use it, you see? And as they use it, we're going to need the service desk. We're going to need service desk to really support. So if the users, if they have any if the users, if they have any issue or any question, they can go to the service desk, and service desk will log all of those in our tool. And even from that, the DevOps engineer can then pick on many things, and with some other stakeholders, like even business analysts, to start gathering new requirements based on the feedback we're getting from the actual use of the application itself, together with the product manager, of course. You see, so all of these will be needed. And here, one of those principles that that is quite essential is optimize and automate. So here we want to automate as many things as possible to make manual work, to reduce manual work to BRS minimum. And that's one of the principles of ITIL, that we need to automate. We cannot just use humans for what humans are not good at, or what is so boring, doing the same thing over and over. Why not automate it? Also, ITIL V3 talks a lot about automation. All right. And next, during the delivery and supporting, we start to gather data. When do we meet the target? When did we not meet the target? When was the target breached? And monitoring everything so that we can improve, because there is no way we can improve in life without monitoring, right? And that's what we call service measurement. You know, dashboards and knock centers. And the last one is improve. Based on whatever we're gathering from these, we can then improve. We can improve our services. We can improve our products. We can improve the way we treat our customers, right? Based on the data, real life data, in order to deliver value to our customers. So there's no way we can solve a problem or deliver value to our customers without at any point in time carrying out those activities. And I call them verbs, all right? And in improvement, definitely these two guys are core to improving the product or the service. And that is what we call the service value chain. And the service value chain in ITIL V3, if you are interested in IT or delivering value to customers in any, from any space, ITIL V3 can really help, right? Very, very well. So ITIL V3 helps us to actually create your own unique value stream, step by step, by making sure that we include all the right practices, we include all the right activities, and we make sure that we obey those principles. And at the end of the day, your customers are going to be happy for it, right? And this is just another example I put here, but because of time, I cannot talk about it. Saying that if we have a problem, then in fact, we can start from service desk for an existing service. So just to kind of wrap up, okay, for 1 hour. Yes, the full meaning of ITIL used to be information. Somebody is asking, information technology, infrastructure, library. But not to bore you with this big name, okay? It's just a way of managing IT services. That's ITSM framework. It's IT service management framework. That's the main thing about it. All right, so in 60 seconds, ITIL is, as you all know, is global recognition. If you get certified in it, global recognition. But beyond the certification, I don't care about certification, is the knowledge and the value that you can add to your organization. And you can add as a person so that you understand how service or services, how they work end to end, and you can talk about them. All right. So if you're interested in the certification, please, or knowing more about ITIL, please get in touch with us in Arabica. We'll be happy to explain to you how everything works. Or if you want to choose, or if you feel like choosing a course, at least that's foundation. If you want to choose foundation course, we have one coming up November 25th to 27th. Yes, for about 5 hours a day. So you can please ask us more questions about that. And just before we end, I know our time is coming to an end. Thank you for completing that poll. I really appreciate. Please, I need you to complete another poll just before we go. Just some set of questions quickly, just to know whether you're going to be interested in any of the courses. So please, quickly go ahead in the last minute. Yeah, 1 minute. Please go ahead and quickly complete this our poll, just to make sure. Just to be. Please, just to be sure if or to know whether you're interested, and it's going to be great to learn about that. But apart from that, we're going to send you this slide, and you can find some resources on our website or on Axelos website or PeopleSat website. So we're going to send these the entire slides to you. for your development. And if you need more questions, please get across to us. I'll be happy to answer your question or any question that you may have. Can there be this type of training for human resource manager? Yes, absolutely. And even for human resource manager, please get across to us, Emmanuel. We will definitely work with that and create a topic as to how even ITIL 4 or service management within human resources as well. We can do that, absolutely. And yes, we will do that for you and let you know when the webinar will be as well. But it's nice meeting you guys. It just to share a little bit about ITIL 4 and how that can help you. Thank you very, very much for joining us today on this short webinar. And we're going to be having a lot of them coming along. So please, you can keep joining us for free and you can learn at least a little thing. I mean, simple knowledge here and there. We don't know where that may lead us, but absolutely, I hope that has not been a waste of time. So thank you and enjoy the rest of your day. Okay, thank you.